Good morning. Today we learned that in March our economy created 431,000 jobs. Nice sound to it. Over the course of my presidency, our recovery has now created 7.9 million jobs. More jobs created over the first 14 months of any presidency in any term ever. And that's striking. But what's even more striking is this: the fastest decline in unemployment to start a president's term ever recorded. In fact, there have been only 3 months in the last 50 years where the unemployment rate in America is lower than it is now. And that's good news. And that's good news for fighting inflation. You know, the American people, I think they're beginning to understand that this American Rescue Plan, and there's no reason why they should know the names of all these pieces of legislation that got passed. 4 million more American jobs were created, and unemployment is 2% lower than it would have been had we failed to move that legislation. Thanks to our infrastructure law, we have more than 4,000 projects getting started this year, 4,000 in every single state in America, total of 4,000, and all 50 states rebuilding America. Our policies are working, and we're getting results for the American people, which is what it's all about, to state the obvious. People are making more money. They're finding better jobs. And after decades of being mistreated and paid too little, more and more American workers have real power now to get better wages and to do what's best for themselves and their families. Some people see that as a problem. We've had this discussion in the past. I don't. I see it as long overdue. Even though we created a record number of jobs, I know that this job is not finished. We need to do more to get prices under control. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world. To help deal with that, yesterday I authorized the release of 1 million barrels per day for the next 6 months from our Strategic Petroleum Reserve, to deny Putin the ability to weaponize his energy resources against American families, not only American families, but families in Europe and around the world. I've also made it a priority to get America's fiscal house in order. Under my predecessor, the federal budget deficit went up every single year, every year. So here are the facts. It was the previous administrations whose reckless policies and mismanagement led to the record budget deficits. In my administration, that's getting the deficit under control. In fact, I just released my budget this week, and it shows going forward we can cut the deficit by another $1 trillion over the next decade, while still making prudent investments in economic growth and climate and other equitable economic decisions. But to do that, we have to be willing to do something previous administrations and Republicans today refuse to do. We need to make sure corporations and the super wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Here's one example. Right now, billionaires, and there's not a whole lot of them in the country, maybe I won't give a number because I don't know for sure. They average less than 1%. But my point is, billionaires pay an average rate of only 8% on their total income. So my budget has a billionaire minimum tax, a 20% minimum tax that applies only to the top 1/100th of 1% of American households. Billionaire minimum tax is fair. And here's the deal. It raises $360 billion that can be used to lower costs for families and cut the deficit. I would add, nobody making less than you're tired of hearing me say it, but no one making less than $400,000 a year will pay a single penny more in federal taxes. As I've said in the past, I'm a capitalist. I have no problem with people making as much money as they are capable of making. But I'm asking you one simple question: just pay your fair share. Pay your fair share, that's all. That's it. Just your fair share. Here's what this adds up to. We're going to continue to create jobs, bring down the cost for families, and rein in deficits left by my predecessor. I want to thank you all for showing up today, and we'll have plenty of time to answer questions about other items other than the jobs report next week. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So what about inflation? What about inflation outpacing wages, Mr. President?